Thank you everybody that stayed.
Well, Dan's also going to play some more music.
Okay.
The other Dan's
Oh,
going to
great.
read some more too.
Yeah, look at
What?
Do you have another piece to read?
I can finish that. It's like 2 pages. I don't have to though. People should just read it on their own.
stab it.
We do have copies next to you.
It's 2 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can do that. But Elliot, how do you?
I think you guys
Thumbs.
should.
Let's fight it out.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Take the shirt.
well, this is a story called Tin Rose. It's not the whole story. I kind of pulled one plot line out of it to make this a little briefer. But it is a story of a kid going to an amusement park. Its name is Otex, which is introduced in the other plot line, so not to confuse. Walking into the park that day, the smell of butter and pepper swept past me and made my tongue swell. I held tight to a sweaty ball of money in my pocket. My sister Caitlin and I were there with my dad, leaving Mom at home to have the day for herself. Dad brought the two of us to the park at least once or twice a summer. He called them vacation days for Mommy. Not having us around to take care of was meant to mean she had the day to relax by herself. But we nearly always came home to the house smelling like lamb roast and pumpkin bread. It was sunny that day, and my clothes bunched and stuck on my skin. Dad, can I have a roasted corn? Come on, please, I'm hungry. You weren't hungry till you smelled the corn. My dad had a way of ending discussions with the simplicity of his stance, and even the way he laid out his words. I wanted to buy it myself. I'd brought the last of my birthday money with me, and I was so conscious of the $10 in my pocket it was itchy. Instead, I held back and swallowed my spit until I stopped smelling the butter. I was determined not to blow through the money. I decided the night before I would use it to bring Mom home a present for all her days off full of hard work. I would shop in the park store or maybe win her something. When we caught up to Caitlin, she was already using some of her savings to try the Jacob's ladder. The small muscles in her arms and legs twisted like snakes to hold her steady while she worked her way across the rope. She made the sacrifice of removing one hand from the ladder so she could make a fart noise directed to me. The rope made a quick twist and sent her upside down. She hung for a moment, like a monkey, laughing through the hair in her face, before plopping onto the mat underneath her. Sorry, Angel. No prize unless you reach the bell. But you come back and play again, the attendant told her. Caitlin bounced over to Dad and me. Did you see how far I got? I was almost all the way to the end. And did you see me hanging? I bet I could have held on forever. Of course, it came out in one breath, leaving her tired at the end. You did great, honey. How much was the game, anyway? To this, Caitlin gave her standard answer to any of Dad's questions she felt were too silly to deserve a response, and blew a freckled-cheeked raspberry up towards his face, flecking him with spittle. I should try, Dad. I'm way better at Jacob's ladder. I tried to straighten my posture while I asked him, as if it were a business proposal. Go play. Costs $1. Pay the man. He lifted his eyebrows, and even then I knew he was mocking me, even if I couldn't have named the feeling. I have to save it. Just buy me one turn, and I bet I win. I'll get the big frog and bring it home to Mom, please? The drawn-out please never seemed to work, but that didn't stop me from trying every time. Roger, you know what a rip-off these souvenir prizes are. Costs a penny's worth of cloth filled with a penny's worth of filling. You just want it because it's big. In truth, I didn't want it at all. Only the chance to impress the crowd. But when my dad weighed in on the value of a deal, nothing ever held up. I closed my fist over the wad of $1 bills in my pocket and decided it was just a rope ladder, not worth $1. Caitlin and I never really cared about prizes. They were cheap even then and only slowed us down. Caitlin was tall for her age, allowing her to spend most of her time on the thrill rides, always with her hands held bravely above her head. For me, the love of Otex came from the thickly melting sugar sticks and crispy fried pig skins, special foods you never knew when you'd have again. Sometimes I spent my entire day at Otex eating sausages wrapped in flaky dough, sticky balls of caramel corn, and still warm wedges of lemon cake. everything buttered and sugared and boiled in oil. Walking the park, my hand angrily clenched around the wad of money that was ruining my day. I could barely stand the sugary air and the popping, bubbling sound of the fryers. I had $6 left from the 10 Grandma had given me for my birthday. I decided I could still get Mom a good gift with 5, and started combing the park for what I could buy with my allowance. There wasn't much I could get for $1, and the search left me even hungrier than before. I eventually settled on a booth that sold maple bars for 89 cents. The old woman that ran the booth gave me the biggest bar in the front, and I settled down on a bench with my nose full of the smell of caramelized maple syrup. I could see tiny bubbles in the dark brown shell, bits of sugary air that hadn't quite escaped the pan before the pastry hardened. I lifted the bar up to my mouth and let my front teeth sink into the gooey paste of the maple bar. Saliva instantly filled my mouth as I moved the sweet mash around my tongue and cheeks. As I licked the last traces of maple gelatin from my hands, I was already filled with sadness. A single maple bar was the least I'd ever eaten on a day at Otex, and my stomach still twisted for fried fish sandwiches and chocolate-dipped ice cream. I started to walk in ambling circles around the park, distracting myself with the search for Mom's gift. If I found it early, I might still be able to get something with the change. The gift shops were a dead end, selling things like washcloths and keychains I knew Mom would hate, and everything cost more than I had. Near the exit was a section called Clown Alley, where for $0.25, young kids could play easier games with no prizes. Everything was cheaper there, and I thought they might have something for sale in the craft booths. If nothing else, I hoped the smell of food wouldn't be so strong so far from the main thoroughfare of the park. When I got there, my nose buzzed with the greasy herbs and spices. I hadn't escaped the smell of food at all. I followed the scent of garlic and cured meats to the back corner of the park. Still in view of the Clown Alley games was a small setup of plastic tables and chairs where adults sat eating pasta from styrofoam bowls. Fuzzy violin music spitting from the overhead speakers marked it as a place for parents to take a break from their kids. As people ate, a teenager with wispy orange hair walked up and down the tables, offering each one something from a wooden box that held to his neck with a strap. I only caught glimpses of the inside when he tipped it forward to show each table, but it looked like it held sparkling treasure, like something out of a movie. He usually turned away from me, but when an old man bought one for his wife, I got a full view. They weren't doubloons or jewels, but roses. Shining gold-stalked roses, with silvery petals that changed color in the light. I took the money out of my pocket and walked towards the salesman. When I reached the tables, I heard him talking to a fat woman with a tight mouth. "I'm sorry, ma'am, it's not for tips. They cost $15. He used a polite tone, but his eyes were big in his head and his jaw muscles were bunching. $15 for this crap? I saw some spit land in the teenager's hair. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I work for the park. They set the prices. Please enjoy your meal." He was already retreating by the last sentence, cutting the woman off. She rolled her eyes and went back to her pasta bowl. Looking at her wedged into the plastic chair, I kept thinking of the stuffed animal prizes, bursting with fluff. I left the cafe and searched the park for my dad. I knew asking for money was useless with my father as a rule, but I was sure this would be different. He would see my determination. He would know this was special. If I got my words right, I could make him understand they were worth it. When I found him and Caitlin at a game booth, shooting bottles off a shelf with a BB gun, I had my argument all laid out in my mind. "Hey, Roger, you off hitting the snack stands? You want to watch your sister hit the Coke bottle? She's pretty good." "Dad, you won't believe it. I found a present for Mom. It's way better than some stupid doll or candy. There's a man here that walks around selling these flowers made of treasure. I have $5, but if you help me a little more, I swear I'll do chores in the summer until I can pay back." "You know I don't like the idea of you blowing $5 all in one place. It's going to be pretty hard to make me think I should help you spend even more. Let's see these things that got you so excited." I brought Dad back to the cafe, pulling him along by the arm. When we reached the expanse of tables, I stopped and pointed to the boy selling the shining flowers. He looked over my shoulder and found the wispy-haired teenager walking among the tables. Him? He squinted at the box. Oh, those things. When I lived in Chicago, they sold those on the street during New Year's. They make roses out of rolled tin and then paint 'em up nice. So you think Mom will like it? I'm sure she will. I think I even remember her being pretty fond of 'em in Chicago. So you helped me get it. Thank you so much, Daddy. I love you. I promise, I'll pay you back. Alright, hold on now. How much more do you need? I bought those for $1.50 in Chicago. Just 10? Jesus! The people at the table closest to us turned and stared. What business does he have selling rolled up tin for $10? No, I mean I need 10. Absolutely not. Ludicrous! I walked away from the tables now, casually guiding Dad away from the crowd. Look, it's nice what you're doing for your mom. I like that you want to bring her home a present, and those are real pretty. But you're not turning your money over to that crook for 10 cents worth of tin and gold plating. If you're going to go over there and get your mom a flower, you'll buy it for what it's worth. Give me the money you have. I didn't understand why he wanted my money, but my dad wasn't the kind of person you questioned. I handed him my ball of $1 bills, which he quickly flattened out and counted. 4 of the bills he folded over and put in his back pocket. The last one he crumpled back up into a ball and rolled around in the dirt, spitting on it a bit and then grinding it with the tip of his shoe. Then he opened it up and tore it here and there along the border. When he handed it back to me, it was softer, like the middle of a baseball glove. Now listen, you listening? I nodded with vigor that left the back of my neck sore. Go up to him with just this $1 in your pocket and ask him if you can have a rose for your mommy. Don't have the $1 out yet, just ask for the rose. It might end there, but if he tells you how much it costs, take out this $1 and ask if it's enough. If he says no, tell him it's all you have, but make a lot of sniffling sounds and hunch your shoulders. He looked at me for a moment, then reached down to the place where he rolled the $1 and pinched some dirt that was still tacky from where he'd spit. With one broad thumb, he smeared it under each eye and along my cheekbones. Dad, it's supposed to be 15. I heard him say, maybe I can ask if 10 is okay. Listen to me. You go over there with $10 and it'll cost $10. You go there with $1, ask the way I told you, and it'll be free. I approached the teenager with dirt on my face. I was embarrassed, but I could feel my dad's eyes on me from where he watched by the kids' games. Sir, can I have a rose for my mom? Of course you can, little guy. His wide smile showed off a mouthful of braces. Just tell her they're $15. You want to pick one? I looked down into the box and the flowers gleamed at me. The golden stems twisted gracefully up to the thin silver petals, coated with a transparent paint that gave them the sheen of an oil slick. There was a floral scent coming from the box, stronger than any real rose I'd ever smelled. It made my eyes sting. This is all I have. Can this be enough? My face was red hot as I presented the dirty, torn $1 bill. He didn't respond right away, instead studying me up and down, unsure. I was ready to confess and offer the rest of the money when his face softened. Hey, it's cool, little man. Just take one. He handed me one of the shorter roses and smiled again, this time not as toothily. Really? Thank you, sir. She's really gonna love it. I smiled back at him, but it made me feel a little sick, so I backed away without saying any more. Well, did he give it to you? My dad asked. I wordlessly presented my rose, and his face lit up with pride. That's my boy, I told you, didn't I? That's right, I did. And did he take your $1? No, he just let me have it. Just like I said, and you sniffed and cried? I cried. I did just like you said. He handed me back the rest of the ones, but I didn't feel like spending them. I let them sit in my pocket, recrumpled into a ball. I studied the rose in the back seat while my dad drove us home. It weighed less than a quarter, and the petals bent under my touch. Careful not to damage it further, I placed it on the seat next to me. The scent didn't make my eyes sting anymore. In fact, It had almost faded completely, the cheap tin too slick to hold the perfume.